Hey YouTube, welcome to episode 2 of Battle of the Backlog. And this is a series that I came up with a couple of months ago just so that I could put a little bit more focus on the games that I've recently completed out of my backlog collection. Now today the game that I'll be featuring is the first game that I've completed in the 2013 Summer Backlog Challenge. It's Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask for the Nintendo 3DS. Miracle Mask was released on October 28, 2012, and it's the first Professor Layton game to hit North America for the Nintendo 3DS. And I have to say, guys, I'm a little disappointed with myself because Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask is a solid entry into the Layton series. Now, the story takes place years after the events that occurred in The Last Spectre, which is the third Professor Layton game. It was the last Layton game to make it onto the Nintendo DS. Layton is contacted by one of his childhood friends, Angela Ladora, who's basically telling him that there's trouble going on in her town. There's this masked man that's just causing all sorts of chaos. So Layton takes it upon himself to get to the bottom of things. Now, of course, he has his trusty sidekick Luke along with him for this adventure. And he also has Emmy, who I personally like. I like her character. She's really cool. She's along for the ride as well. I found the story to be really enjoyable. It's entertaining. And as is the case with every Professor Layton game, there's a bunch of twists and turns. Now, the thing that I really enjoyed the most is the dialogue. The dialogue is just so well done. It's really charming, witty. There's humor thrown in there. I mean, it really makes, the dialogue alone really makes you love all of the characters that are in the game. Miracle Mask plays like every other Layton game that's out there, but there is a minor difference. There's a section in the game where the gameplay changes a little bit, and I found that refreshing. But for the most part, I mean, this is an adventure game where you don't actually control the character. You're using the touchscreen to tap or click on objects around the environment in order to find hint coins. You can click or tap on people so that you can speak with them and they'll give you puzzles to solve for you to progress in the game. The puzzles in this game are logic puzzles, and sometimes they can be super obvious. I mean, the answer's just right there in your face. And other times, you know, you have to do a little bit more digging. You have to think a little bit more in order to solve the puzzle. And I found that in Miracle Mask, the puzzles were a little bit more challenging than in the other Professor Layton games, and that was really good for me. I really enjoyed the fact that, you know, I was giving these puzzles that kind of stumped me for some time. One of the things that I really enjoyed about Miracle Mask was the fact that the game has these flashbacks, okay? And you play as a young Professor Layton. You know, he's this young, hip, aspiring archaeologist. And during a chapter in this game, you are in these caves. And I'm not going to give away the reason why you're in these caves, but just know that you're in these caves. And the gameplay switches up. And I found it to be really refreshing. It turns into a puzzle like adventure type of game where you're trying to avoid mummies, you're digging up hint coins, you're solving puzzles. It's just really enjoyable. The presentation in Miracle Mask is awesome. I mean, this game looks really great. I think it's the best looking game in the series, and that's probably easily due to the fact that this is on the 3DS as opposed to the DS. The artwork is amazing. It looks beautiful on the 3DS. The 3D, I didn't really use all that much. I used it during the cutscenes, and that was about it. I didn't really play the game in 3D, but from what I saw of the cutscenes in 3D, that looks good as well. The voice acting is fantastic. Unfortunately, the whole game isn't fully voice acted. And I kind of wish it was, because I really enjoyed the voice acting that's done in this game. And the same thing can be said about the music. The music is phenomenal. It totally touches the mood on what's going on throughout different sections in the game. Really, really good stuff. Overall, I spent close to 20 hours with the game, and I'm sure it can be completed in far less time than that. But I spent a lot of time exploring everything that I possibly can. Like I said, I got stuck on some puzzles, and I did a fair share of the puzzles. Altogether, there's like 150 puzzles in this game, and plus the content after you beat the game is ridiculous because you have daily puzzles and all that good stuff. You could go back to the puzzles that you didn't get a chance to see while you were playing through the adventure. I mean, there's a lot of stuff jam-packed in this little cartridge. I'm so happy that I finally played through and completed Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask. But part of me is kind of angry because the way that Miracle Mask ends, it's a total cliffhanger. And we won't know what happens until Professor Layton and the Azran Legacies comes out in 2014. That is a long time to wait to see what happens after the end of Miracle Mask. That's crazy. I have no other option but to be patient and wait for Azran Legacies to come out in 2014. And this is supposed to be Layton's last hurrah. So hopefully he goes out with a bang. So I want to thank all of you guys for watching this video, and I'll check you next time.